Learn some amazing Ayurvedic secrets that can supercharge your weight loss journey. Hi guys, I'm Grace with Grace Yoga. We're talking about Ayurvedic cleansing. I'm an Ayurvedic life coach and not a doctor. So if you'd like to see if Ayurvedic cleansing is right for you, please consult with your medical professional. All right, so let's get right into it. We're going to be talking about weight loss and optimizing your daily habits to help you really ramp up your weight loss. Before we get into the specifics of what this video talks about, I do want to let you know that I have another video that's on the whole process. This, what you're seeing on screen right now, is just a snapshot of what an Ayurvedic cleanse looks like, starting with month 1, and then it goes to month 2, 3, and then today we're focusing on month 4. One thing to note is once you start tasks in month 1, you carry them through the entire process. Once you start with month 2, you're doing everything from month 1. When you get to month 3, you're doing everything from month 1, month 2, and month 3. So with that, let's go ahead and go to the next slide, and we'll focus on month 4. In month 4, you will continue everything that you've started in month 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to be adding in daily habits or daily tasks. The first being, have your biggest meal at lunch. You're going to warm up your drinks and your foods, and yes, even salads. And then you add meditation in as one of your practices and be asleep by 10 p.m. We're going to go a little bit deeper into each of these tasks and the benefits of them. But first, let's look at the Ayurvedic clock. In Ayurveda, every 4 hours has a certain quality. If this is your first time ever hearing about Vata, Pitta, or Kapha, those are doshas, or your Ayurvedic constitution. There is a website that you can go to so that you can find out what your Ayurvedic constitution is. And it's right up there above. So if you want to go find out, go click it up there. I recommend Joyful Belly's website. They have a really good test, an easy test that you can take where you check a few boxes and you will discover what your dosha is. Just like each and every one of us have a particular Ayurvedic constitution or a dosha, so does the whole day. What's shown on screen is just the face of a clock. This is only showing 12 hours. Of course, there's 24 hours in a day. From 10 to 2, whether it's AM or PM, that is Pitta time. So from 10 AM to 2 PM, that is Pitta time. But from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., that is also Pitta time. So every day has 2 periods of Pitta and 2 periods of Vata and 2 periods of Kapha. And they go in this order. 6 a.m., you have 4 hours of Kapha, followed by 4 hours of Pitta, followed by 4 hours of Vata. And then you get to your evening time, 6 p.m., another 4 hours of Kapha, 4 hours of Pitta, and 4 hours of Vata, and then we end our 24-hour period. Pitta, it has the qualities of fire and earth. Vata has qualities of air and space, and Kapha has qualities of water and earth. Let's take a little bit closer look at each one of these 4-hour periods. 6 a.m. starts Kapha time. This time is really grounding, and it offers us a lot of stability. Good things to do during this Kapha period are your workouts. Kapha time is the time to tackle mentally challenging tasks or projects, things that require a lot of focus or a lot of concentration. If you want to do some morning self-care practices, that's good too, like your dry brushing, oil pulling. You can do abhyanga. You can have a nourishing and balanced breakfast, but not too big, not too big of a breakfast. So you want to have a breakfast that's right for your body. And whatever your dosha is, eat according to your dosha. If you're a kapha constitution, you may not need breakfast, maybe a little breakfast or none at all. If you are a pitta dosha, maybe you eat a little bit more substantial breakfast. If you're a vata dosha, then maybe you have a medium to light breakfast. Because with our foods, the reason we don't want to have our biggest meal at breakfast is because we actually want to have our biggest meal at lunch, which leads us into the next time, pitta time. Pitta is fire and earth. Pitta, it burns brightly. It's a time of the day where the sun is the highest in the sky and is strongest in the day. Pitta goes from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is a time when we can be really sharp. It's really good for focus. And so great activities to plan during this time of the day are strategic planning, problem solving, decision making, or critical thinking. Other things that you can do are some important tasks that require focus and attention to detail. With the tasks, the problem solving, the strategic planning, it's not like the kapha time that we just talked about. That we can just keep going. We can just kind of plow through and get it done. But during pitta time, we need more breaks because we can tend to burn out if we push it too hard. You definitely do not want to have confrontational meetings during this time because people can get a bit fiery during this 4-hour period. It's best to have non-confrontational meetings or presentations during this time. And this is also the time that we need to take our lunch. And at our lunch is where we have our main meal for our day. You have your biggest meal at lunchtime. After the 2 o'clock period, we transition into vata time, 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. This is the air and space time. This is really good time for being really creative, for brainstorming, doing artistic pursuits, or even having tea time and having fellowship with friends. You can practice mindful communication, do some meditation, and if you're going to exercise during this vata period of time, it's best to do some gentle and light exercise, perhaps like gentle yoga. Then we encounter kapha time again, but this time it's in the evening. This is our relax and wind down period of the day. It's best not to have a heavy meal during this period of time. It's best for dinners to be light. We want whatever food we put into our bodies during this period of time to be able to be digested out of our stomach by the time we go to bed. So it's important not to eat too late. Eat early enough so that the food will be out of your stomach by the time you go to bed. You can also engage in relaxing activities like reading a book, listening to calm music, visiting with family if you want, as long as it's just relaxing. You can also practice your self-care routines or rituals. Like if you want to do abhyanga in the evening, this is a great time to do abhyanga, which is massaging the body with warm oil. At the end of this period is a great time to prepare yourself for pitta nighttime. During pitta time, which spans from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., you want to be asleep during this time. Be asleep by 10 p.m. And so to do that, just before this pitta nighttime starts, then take about an hour before and create yourself a bedtime routine. Maybe you take a bath. Maybe you do some abhyanga. Maybe you do a yoga nidra for sleep, like the ones that I have here on YouTube. Here's a link to one. I have about a dozen of them, both here on YouTube and on Insight Timer. So take advantage of them. There are free resources out there for you. If you don't want to listen to a meditation, then you could also just start counting your breaths. Starting from 10, inhale 10, exhale 10, inhale 9, and exhale 9. And keep counting all the way until you get down to 1. Trying not to control your breath, just counting and observing. And if you start thinking about it, then just start again at 10. And then once you get down to 1, you just return, go back to 10 and count down again. And eventually your mind will get an opportunity to settle down and to, in a way, just switch off and allow you to go into a deep restorative sleep. Ensure that you're going to be comfortable in the evening and throughout the night. So make sure the temperature is just right for you and that the light settings are just right for you. Some people like it completely dark. Some people like a little bit of light. It really depends on you and your doshic preferences. Are you Vata, Pitta, or Kapha, or a combination of 2 or more of them? And depending on whatever you are, is going to decide what environment is best for you. So those are some things that we can do to help us get a really good night's sleep. Now, if you have ever experienced waking up at 2 a.m. or sometime around that time frame and couldn't get back to sleep, it's most likely that you're experiencing the energy of Vata time. Vata time, it becomes light and airy, and our thoughts start being able to move around. It becomes very difficult to just fall asleep and get back to sleep once you've woken up during this Vata time, but it is possible. You can use the Yoga Nidra guided meditations. Again, you can use the breath counting. It's best not to, at this time, not to pick up those screens. Keep them away. Don't look at them. Don't turn on the TV. Don't pick up your phone. It's best to listen to a meditation or do some sort of grounding practice for you so you can get back to sleep and finish your nighttime cycle of sleep. Then you'll want to wake up by 6 a.m. in the morning, because if you wake up past 6 a.m., there's a chance that you may feel groggy. So if you can wake up just before 6 a.m., then it'll be more helpful and beneficial to you because you want to wake up before kapha time in the morning. So that concludes our Ayurvedic clock discussion. And now it's going to make a lot more sense why in our final month of our cleanse, why we want to do some of these practices. Like, why do we want to eat our biggest meal at lunch? Well, it's because, the sun is highest in the sky. It's most powerful. So the external Agni or fire is most powerful, but so is our internal digestive fire or Agni. Your body can most effectively process a larger meal at lunchtime because at lunchtime is when your Agni or your digestive fire is strongest. Your metabolism is also strongest in the middle of the day, and this is another reason why you want to have your biggest meal at lunch. And during the middle of the day, since your Agni is strongest, your metabolism is stronger, you're able to get more nutrients and more easily digest those foods if you keep your biggest meal to your lunchtime. Having that lighter meal at dinner sets you up for a good night's sleep. Cold drinks dampen our Agni. And we want to do the opposite. We want our Agni to be strong so that we can help boost our metabolism and get the most nutrients possible out of the things that we eat. And I want to clarify that it's not that you always have to have hot drinks or warm drinks. They can be room temperature or warmer. The key is that you do not have any more cold drinks. Having warmed up foods, meaning no raw vegetables. Eating raw vegetables is really difficult on our system, particularly those of us who have a Vata constitution or have elevated Vata. Cooking our foods before we eat them helps to unlock the nutrients that are in those foods. Now, I'm not talking about overcooking. I'm talking about slightly cooking your vegetables just enough so that they still have that bright appearance to them, so it doesn't kill the nutrients. When you cook the foods, it breaks down the food just a little bit more to make it easier for your body to digest and get the nutrients from those foods. Having our drinks at The room temperature or warmer really helps us to maintain our optimal hydration levels for our body. There is something else I wanted to say about the benefits of warming up your foods is that I'm not talking about microwaving. Do not microwave your food. If you want to warm up your foods, I'm talking about either cooking them on the stove or in the oven in particular. The microwave puts radiation into our food, and we want to avoid that if at all possible. Meditation helps us to reduce stress. It improves our focus and it boosts our concentration. Have you ever been trying to think and push your way through something that's really mentally taxing or arduous, and you start to feel like you're in a tunnel? Well, I've been there and it's not fun. So one way to get yourself back in balance and get yourself that mental clarity is to meditate. I have some really great meditations here on YouTube. They are yoga nidra guided meditations. So check them out. Use them to help yourself regain mental balance and clarity. Meditation also helps us to have emotional as well as overall well-being. It increases our self-awareness, not only of our own life experiences, but then when we interact in the world around us, we're also able to be more self-aware and intuitive. That's a big thing with meditation. It really does help you become more intuitive. It helps you to improve your cognitive functions and to think better, to think clearly. If you think about a car windshield and there were a lot of bug splatters, and that's how when we go through life, if we're not cleaning our lens from where, like our life windshield, when we go through life, certain things obscure our lens. They obscure our view, like the bugs splattering on the windshield. Those encounters that we have in life also obscure our view of how we're experiencing life. So meditation works like those windshield wipers where they wipe off in the spray, maybe, because I mean, if you ever tried to clean a windshield wiper, bug guts with just the windshield wiper, it just smears it around. So meditation is like spraying the windshield and then wiping it off with the windshield wipers. It helps you to get better sleep, and it balances out the hormones within your body. When we get really stressed out, our cortisol levels go up, our adrenaline goes up, but when we meditate, it helps to rebalance those so that they come back to a normal state. And meditation also helps to increase those positive hormones such as serotonin, which helps us to regulate our mood. It also helps us to get our melatonin, which helps us sleep. It also helps us to improve our insulin sensitivity. And so whenever we get our body and our hormones in balance, then we get to have an overall sense of well-being. We increase and improve our emotional intelligence. When we look and we observe something going on, a situation, we're able to look at it with a clear lens. And rather than reacting to a situation, we get to appropriately respond to that situation from a soul level. The benefits of being asleep by 10 p.m. are we get to follow our natural circadian rhythm, going to bed with the sun, coming up with the sun. I know that shifts and changes over time. So 10 p.m. is really just a general rule, but that can be shifted backward or forward depending on one, what season is it? Where are you at in the world? What is your constitution? So all of those things will affect what time works best for you. But in general, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m., we need to be asleep. That's the period of our deep restorative sleep. It's when we get really better quality sleep. That's the time that our liver gets to process all the foods. Our body gets detoxed during that time. Our digestive fire gets rebalanced and recalibrated. It's also a time that we get to process anything that we've encountered mentally or emotionally throughout the day. So this time is important for us to rest and restore, rejuvenate for physical, mental, and emotional processing. One last point I want to talk about is As you're ready to wean off the cleanse, it's really important that you don't stop everything just cold turkey, that you wean down, that you taper off the herbs, that you taper off the protocols and processes that you are following through the whole cleansing period. At the end of the fourth month, perhaps the last week of that fourth month, begin to reduce your herbs, starting in reverse order. In this cleanse, Google is the last herb, so that's the first one that you want to start weaning off of. So then after Google, you'll want to start tapering down Brahmi and ashwagandha. Those are two herbs that you can keep taking. We'll talk about the dosages of those in just a moment. Then you'll want to start weaning down your triphala. The important thing to remember about triphala is that it helps us to have a bowel movement in the mornings. And it's important not to just stop triphala cold turkey, half it and take it as half dosage for a few days or a few weeks, just listening to your body. And then you can half that amount for a few days and then start taking it every other day. If you're noticing that you wake up and you feel a little constipated, then you'll want to increase the triphala just a little bit until you have your regular bowel movement and then try to reduce it again. Take as much time that you need to wean yourself off of the cleanse, and I would say a good time frame to shoot for to wean off the cleanse is about 3 weeks. You can shorten that if you want, or you can make that even longer. It's just going to depend on what is best for your body. During this transition time, as you're weaning yourself off, you're going to keep some of those habits that you learned and got adapted to through the cleanse. So let's take a look at what those would be as we transition to our new lifestyle and as we transition to the maintenance mode after the cleanse. You're going to keep doing the month 4 habits, the ones that we discussed in this talk. As a rule, rather than the exception, you're going to eat your biggest meal at lunch, have room temperature drinks or warmer, and always have cooked foods. The Brahmi and ashwagandha, during the cleanse, you may have reached maybe 1,000 milligrams of each at breakfast and dinner, but you're going to bring that down to 400 or 500 milligrams with breakfast at dinner. That is if you're going to keep taking them at all. You don't have to. Those are two herbs that are great to take because they're so good for the mind and the body. On Brahmi and ashwagandha, if you want to know about their particular benefits, I have a whole other video that talks about why they're so good, why should we take them, and all the details about Brahmi and ashwagandha. So check out that link up there. Check out that video so you can learn more about them. Dry brushing and tongue scraping, those are tools that you can take with you throughout the year as you see is best for you. Dry brushing helps us to open the pores of the skin. If your skin gets irritated, maybe skip it, maybe do abhyanga instead. Tongue scraping every morning is really good. I have videos on both of these as well. Triphala and CCFT are some protocols that you can follow if your digestion starts to feel a little sluggish. You can use Triphala and CCFT to help boost your digestive system when you need it. Now, let's say that you go to a really big party. Let's say you eat way more than you want to, or you've eaten foods that are a little bit too heavy for you. And no worries, you can use a Khichdi mono diet to bring things back in balance. And how you would do it looks a little like this. So through the weekend, you go party, you eat more, you enjoy yourself and indulge. Yay, you had a good time. So then after the weekend's over, Monday comes around, you do a 1-day Khichdi mono diet, and that helps to bring everything back in balance. And if you want to know how to make Khichdi, I also have another video on that. Fiber, you can have that a couple of times a week. If your digestion feels a little sluggish, you can increase that just a bit if you need to. Thank you so much for watching our video today. We talked about some habits that can really help you keep the weight off. We also talked about the Ayurvedic clock, so you have some perspective and some insight into how these practices even work. Thank you so much for watching today. If this information has been helpful to you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for joining us on our Ayurvedic cleansing journey, and I can't wait to see you next spring. Namaste. Oh, that cheesy? It might have been cheesy. Your on inside, yeah. Don't laugh.